probably the best knife fighters in the world. Okay, hands down. Okay, and they were of the tribe of Gad. Okay. Alright, it said, and to shoot with bow, and skillful in war. Now, when you look up shoot with bow, to shoot is Strong's Hebrew 1869, the rod, which means to tread, meaning bend a bow, archers, bow benders. You know, and it says for bow is Strong's Hebrew 7198, Quashath, which means bow for hunting, battle, bowsmen, archers. Now, I got this book right here. You know, even though they go off and they dilute a lot, but they touch on some stuff. It says Native American History for Dummies. Okay, I'm just gonna highlight this little point right here about them talking about their weapons and how they were trained in it. This is page, it's chapter 11, page 178. It says, weapons of choice. Until Native Americans were introduced to the fact, this is on page 180. It says, were introduced to that most useful of weapons. Alright, the rifle. All of their weapons of choice were made using natural materials easily obtainable from their surroundings. You know, so they would make weapons out of all types of stuff. Okay? And they were skilled in this. It says the bow, I'm gonna skip to the bow and arrow. It says the bow and arrow, along with the tomahawk, is the iconic weapon of the Native Americans. And a common misconception made is that natives invented it. And it goes into some other stuff, and then alright, here's the point. It says the Native Americans used the bow and arrow for both battle and hunting. Okay, then I'm gonna skip to knife. It says knife. Early Native American knives used animals' teeth or work or nipped stone for the blade, wood, or a short length of bone for its handle. Later, metal blades became commonplace after natives were introduced to them by the Europeans. A sharp, steady knife was one of the Native Americans' most important tools, and as in the case with other weapons, knives were used for both battle and survival. Cut up a squirrel, cut into an enemy, it as it were, excuse me. Alright, it said the tomahawk. It says the light axe was used as both a tool and a weapon by Native Americans. It is in its earliest form. The head was made of sharpened stone. Later, iron and other metals were used. The term tomahawk comes from the Algonquin word tomahawk or tomahawken. Tomahawken, which does sound like Hebrew. It's even spelled out T-A, a ta, a ma, M-A, ha, H-A, kan, K-A-N. Tomahawken, or Tomahawken. In the beginning of the 17th century, these words describe impalements with stone heads that natives used for chopping and carrying for self-defense. The Europeans quickly embraced the tomahawk as an all-purpose tool, and who can blame them? It was lightweight, could be used for a variety of uses, was relatively easy to make and use, and was an ultra-tin impalement. It was a multi-use item like the other tools described and commonly employed by natives both in villages and the wild. For combat, the tomahawk was efficient within close range use, unlike the spear or arrows. Plus, Its heavy head lent itself beautifully for use as a hammer. A warrior could use his tomahawk to chop branches into the right length, sharpen their ends with the tomahawk blade, then use its heavy head to pound the stakes into the ground. The tomahawk was an indispensable part of both native and settlers' gear, and what made it the item no one wanted to be without was the clever addition of the handle of the axe for a pipe bowl. When not being used for chopping wood and chopping heads, someone could sit back and smoke a bowl of tobacco from their tomahawk. Today the tomahawk are popular for military use. Soldiers in Iraq carry them, as well as the sport of tomahawk throwing. The axe is now made with synthetic handles and steel blades and is available everywhere. Okay? So they got the tomahawk. They got that from our people, the Native Americans, which they call it the Tahamakan. Okay? The Tahamakan. I gotta learn how to pronounce that properly. Alright? Which that's Hebrew. That's Lashawan Kodash. Okay? For you simp ass niggas out there. Alright? Let's go back. First Chronicles 5:18. The sons of Reuben and the Gadites and the half-tribe of Manasseh, a valiant men able to bear buckler and sword, and to shoot with bow, and skillful in war. The word skillful means understanding or discernment. Okay, and in the Hebrew is Strong's Hebrew 39:25, lamad, which means to learn, teach, exercise in, to be taught, be trained. Okay, so it's a known fact, okay, that the Native Americans were trained in the art of war. That's part of our nature. If you meet, that's why you got a lot of so-called Native Americans in this man's military. Okay, it's in their nature to be warriors. Going back to the name that Leah gave to our father, Gad, alright, which meant troop. Which a troop is a body of soldiers or fighting men. So it's in our nature to fight. We have that we have a high level when it comes to fighting. We get into wars and schemes and stuff like that. Okay? That's all spiritual. And we excel in that. Why? Because that's our gift that the Heavenly Father gave to us. Okay? Alright? It says skillful in war. The word war, Strong's Hebrew 44:21, malachama, which means battle, war, and fighting. So they were learned, taught, exercised, trained in the art of battle, wars, and fighting. Okay? Alright? And it's a fact that the so-called white man was getting destroyed. He was getting destroyed going heads up with us, man. Okay? Until he started either getting other native tribes to fight against other native tribes, alright, because they understood their tactics, or they paid off Uncle Tomahawks, alright, disgruntled Uncle Tomahawks, who was bedazzled, alright, by the greed and the lure of the so-called white man to turn against their people to aid them in taking down their tribe or other tribes. That's the only way this man was able to take us down. And that it was sanctioned by the Heavenly Father. Alright, the Great Spirit, Yahweh. Alright, and prophesied by his son, who you early called Jesus Christ, which is Yahweh Shai. Okay, in the Hebrew. Alright. Trained in war, skillful in war were 440,703 score that went out to war. Okay, so they were warriors. Now, when you look up in the International Standard Bible Encyclopedia, it says the descendants of Gad had high spirits and valor that characterized them. Okay, now the word valor means boldness or determination in facing against danger, especially in battle. Heroic